Good morning. Good morning. Happy Fairy Friday. And the wheel turns. I'm probably live, but I like to wait till it stops turning and it says live. Good morning. I hope you are well today. It's Margaret Sample coming to you live from the beautiful Niagara region of Ontario in Canada. And almost every week, I bring you messages from the Fairy Kingdom using Brian Froud's beautiful Fairies Oracle deck. A couple of things I always like to say. One, sometimes I see the comments, sometimes I don't. Technical things are a wonder to me, and Mercury is retrograde right now, so we know that can mean sometimes I won't see them till later. However, I always look for them, so please do comment. If you are watching this, whether you are seeing it live or on replay, it is because this week's message is for you in some way. So with no further ado, I think I will start shuffling cards and find out who is bringing the message for us this week. And sometimes it takes a little longer than others for one to jump. Oh, there we go. Okay. It is Lease of the Shadows. So, and I do have a comment. I'm not doing live mediumship today. That's a completely different prep. But Jay, I think your brother came through the last time, and it was like, you're listening to these, you're here for these messages for a reason. As I say, if the message is coming through and you're watching it, the message is for you. So Lease of the Shadows is one of the fairy helpline troupe. And you can see how beautiful she is, right? The helpline troupe are the wee folk of fairy. They are, whether they're little and tiny or big, they're here to help. And they sometimes work solo, sometimes work in groups. She's a solo worker. And they represent they come from the 5 elements of fairy, which are earth, fire, air, water, and moonlight. Pretty clear to me that she's from moonlight, and also she does a lot of her work in the dark. So that makes sense to me. Lease of the Shadows is about healing. Healing the shadows, the addictions, the bondage, and the self-esteem. Okay? She has a tough job to do. She does. She has a tough job to do, and she has to do it with tough love sometimes. But she really works hard trying to help those who are down. So down, right? She's looking for those who need help in the night streets, and there are so many of those. She's good morning, Rebecca. Oh, I should check the comments before I get right off into this. There we go. She has she's like the person who's helping the helpers in a lot of ways. The fairy who's helping the helpers. She's the patron fairy of social workers, therapists, healers, and everyone who's trying to help the souls that are caught in that darkness of their own inner shadows. Call on Lease, and she will help. She also, anybody who is helping people who have been abused by those who should be protecting them. Lease will help the helpers. She is out in the world. She's a fairy who works in the real world, right? She whispers encouragement and comfort in the ear. She lends a healing hand or a gentle touch. She will sometimes bring a hopeful rainbow of light into the darkest shadows, including those shadows of darkened human hearts, right? Much of her work flows through the humans, through our hearts, our hands, and our words of everybody who is doing this work of help. She works through us. She supports us in that work. Her specialty is help for the hopeless. the lost ones, the ones who've fallen through the cracks. And showing up today, Lise suggests that we examine ourselves to see if we are one of those helpers, if we could use a little bit of support ourselves, because some of us have been giving a lot and are pretty exhausted. So call on her for support. And also she's asking us to check and see if we have any addictions or compulsive behaviors that we would do well to let go of. She has questions for us. She's like, are you angry with yourself or with others? And anger that goes beyond, oh, I'm angry about that. Anger that starts to distort you, okay? That kind of really detrimental anger, harmful anger, right? Are you feeling lost or isolated or hopeless? Are you struggling with feelings of guilt? Like, oh, this is kind of heavy stuff, right? For a beautiful sunny Friday morning as it is here. I look out my window. But Lise will help you if you will allow her to. So instead of, looking at yourself and going, oh, being critical and judging yourself and being the judge and the criminal and the executioner all at once, look at how you can come to atonement, right? At one-ment, how you can help to heal yourself, and in that way help to heal others. If any of those questions are ringing true for you, or if you're just the person who's the helper who is exhausted, okay? She's here to help. And sometimes we have to just begin to heal through action. Perhaps help others who've been hurt in the same way that you're hurting now. Perhaps let anger or grief go. Let go of the anger or grief and rise above it. Or at least be willing to consider letting it go. Grief can really suck us down into those dark, isolated places, right? Without the addictions, without that other stuff, but just that grief that just sucks us right down. Or depression, right? It's not a fault. It just is. And so it's how we can move through it and get through to the other side and come back to that feeling and that place of joy again. Oh, I have another hello, Katie Marie. Good morning from New Zealand. Rebecca, all the messages, if you're watching the message today, it's for you. That's how this one works. Very Friday, okay? And so it's like rise above, but you have to go through it sometimes. Look at it and examine it. Ultimately, Lise tries to help people develop true self-respect and self-esteem. Those are the big picture things that she's helping us go towards. But she helps us with the baby steps first, right? Those little wobbly steps as we try to move towards the healing and those big goals of having self-respect and having self-esteem. She helps us with the little steps. She inspires practical help for those who need it the most. So Lise coming today indicates that something that had seemed lost and irreparably damaged is now open to healing and to be healed and to move forward and from it. Someone watching today is ready to begin with help. Because you don't have to do this by yourself, folks. We think, oh, I'll just pull myself up by my bootstraps. No. Help. Get help. It's there for us. That we're ready to climb out of that inner mire. Okay? If you're a healer and you're exhausted, not only, we all need help. When I went into a ditch a few weeks ago, I went to see my therapist. I had a client one time say, I can't believe you've ever gone to therapy. And it's like, she said, you seem so together. I'm like, well, why do you think I'm together? Because when your arm's broken, you go to a doctor or orthopedic person to get it set so that it will heal properly. When your soul is hurt, you call on the fairies, you call on the angels, and you go to a therapist who can help you, or a spiritual advisor, whatever calls to you. You don't have to do it by yourself. You really don't. There is hope. Lise promises hope. And she also always says um, that there's a need for practicality. So, for example, if someone, if you find someone and they've got uh, okay, let's something crazy, a spear sticking out of them, you don't go, oh, where did the spear come from? What can, well, what are the feathers on the spear? You go, no, okay, how do I get you help so that we can get this spear out and dealt with, and then we can deal with the other stuff, right? You need to deal with the immediate. Let's do some practical steps. In Canada, there's a lot of healing needs to be done in Canada as a country right now, on many levels, and it's like, okay, let's get some practical steps in gear. Let's get moving with the practical things, and then we can look at the bigger issues. They're all important, but we need. Lise is saying, do the practical things first. Make sure that there's clean air to breathe. Make sure there's clean drinking water. Make sure there's clean shelter, right? Like, and let's have safety and security. And then we deal with the rest of it that helps us rise up, and rise up and rise above and become healed from the addictions, from the bondage, have healed self-esteem, and heal those shadows that darken our lives. If you will ask Lise for assistance, she will always give it. She always has time to support those who have time for others. So any of you healers out there, Lise is your patron fairy, and she will help us to get moving forward. And also anybody who's feeling like just down in the ditch, she will help you take those first little practical steps of getting out of it. Okay? And there she is. Okay. Thank you, folks, for who've been watching live. And I really appreciate it. I'll just say for people who tuned in late that when you see Fairy Friday, it's because the message that is coming this week is for you. Okay, so I appreciate you all. And if you're interested in more of what I do, you can always go to my website, www.margaretsample.com. I'm currently not able to accept any individual appointments because I was booked so far ahead that I just had to close it all down for a while so that I can take care of those people properly and also take care of myself. And I've got some really exciting personal things that I'm working on. So there are still some services and things available, like individual emailed readings, Mother Peace cards, fairy oracles, and crystal spirits. But there's also some, and of course the Spirited Insight Hive. Check that out. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you with Fairy Friday. All right. Mwah. Love to all.